Honorable Chief Minister of Assam, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma ji, my ministerial colleague, Pavitra Margarita ji, Minister Patwari ji, very distinguished panel, Excellencies, delegates. It is a great blessing to be at the sacred land of Ma Kamakhya and to join you all today at Advantage Assam 2.0. The theme of this session is, as you heard, Act East, Act Fast, and Act First. Let me begin by congratulating the Chief Minister on an extremely well-organized event, excellent hospitality, and without exaggeration, a fantastic cultural performance yesterday. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the heads of missions, foreign missions, 62 of them, as also a minister and his delegation from the Royal Government of Bhutan. Their participation is certainly reflective of the international interest in Assam and in our Act East policy. In this context, I would also like to recognize the efforts of our Secretary East, Jaideep Mazumdar, and the MEA team. Jaideep happens to be from Assam. But, of course, finally, for this turnout, for the presence of so many of our ambassadors from Delhi, I think the credit rightly goes to the Chief Minister, to the state, the pull factor, and to the ambassadors for the interest that they have shown, and I hope they keep coming to Assam. So let me now turn to the theme of this session. It is conventional, orthodox, to talk of our Act East policy in purely foreign policy terms. This, to me, is not just a partial understanding, but actually a misplaced one. If we are indeed to act on this initiative, we must first begin by doing so within the country. Act East does not start beyond our borders. It begins with a change of mindset in Delhi. And indeed, that is where the difference has been in the last decade. Assam and all the northeastern states have seen the Modi government act fast and act first when it came to their development. Its evidence is in the nature of resources committed, the targeting of goals through specific initiatives, the quality of delivery, and indeed the very change in outlook. You all know how much interest Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has personally taken in the development of the Northeast and how many times he has come to Assam. When ministers of the Modi government are continuously encouraged to visit the Northeast, when an occasion like the G20 sees meetings in every one of these states, I would suggest to you that something has changed profoundly. Other sessions have discussed this transformation underway in the Northeast and in Assam. My job is to highlight its foreign policy implications. But allow me to delve a little deeper into the domestic aspects of Act East before I do so. If one looks at the history of India, a broad generalization can be made that our most glorious periods were when the East was most prosperous. Unfortunately, this also made it a particular target for plundering and pillaging, which accompanied the arrival of Western powers to India. Not just that, as they gained increasing control, the very direction of India's external engagement changed. Resources shifted increasingly to the western coast, which faced Europe. So did connectivity. As a result, historical ports in the Bay of Bengal saw a decline, with the hinterland witnessing the related consequences. But it was not just the colonial period. The partition also inflicted particular damage on the prospects of Assam and the Northeast. Their historical connectivity stood deeply disrupted, and it has been a challenge for Indian diplomacy to rebuild it. Friends, today, as India recovers and rejuvenates, it is logical that there should be a greater focus on the East. We are not only correcting past mistakes, but laying the foundation to explore new opportunities. And that is exactly what Prime Minister Modi seeks to do through the Purvodaya scheme that brings new energy and resources to infrastructure, employment, skilling, and development in these regions. It is only when the Northeast and the East realize their potential more fully that we can progress in our quest towards Viksit Bharat. Let us now look a little beyond, starting with our immediate neighbors. Here, the Neighborhood First policy since 2014 has made significant progress, whether it is Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, or Myanmar. We have seen new roads, checkpoints, rail links, waterways, power grids, fuel pipelines, and transit facilities. And there is much more to come in the days ahead. We saw a glimpse of that in the last session when there was a discussion on the Gelefu Mindfulness City. The result is that new opportunities have indeed opened up and greater levels of contacts and comfort have been built. This has truly been a win-win outcome that must be nurtured and must be taken forward. On its part, I want to say very clearly that India is fully prepared to do so. In fact, even these achievements have been enabled to a great degree by the fact that we pursue a generous and non-reciprocal policy towards bilateral and regional cooperation. If we recall the challenges of the COVID and then the fallout of the Ukraine conflict, India also acted fast and acted first in terms of vaccine supplies, flow of food grains, supply of fertilizers, and availability of fuel for its neighbors. For this foundation to be further built upon, it is crucial that our partners have an equally positive view of its prospects. There are neighbors who have fully leveraged the economic opportunities that the growth of India presents. We welcome that and believe that the track record since 2014 should set to rest any ambivalence. There is, however, a tendency in some quarters to see just problems rather than look for solutions. At the end of the day, regional growth requires a genuine and wholehearted commitment to cooperation. After all, it takes two hands to clap. The next set of partners for us are from the ASEAN. In the last 3 decades, we have mutually benefited from the deepening of ties in so many domains. Whether you take trade, investment, tourism, or even security, there has been steady progress with all members. Since our 2024 general elections alone, we have received the presidents of Indonesia and Singapore, as well as the prime ministers of Malaysia and Vietnam in India. Prime Minister Modi himself has gone to Singapore Brunei, and Laos. And of course, the ASEAN platforms allow for regular meetings between us and its members at so many levels and dimensions. Our high expectation of this partnership is expressed in its elevation as a comprehensive strategic partnership in 2022. To realize them, however, some concrete steps need to be taken expeditiously. The review of the ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement, ITIGA, should not be further delayed. Smoother mobility arrangements can help give a fresh economic boost to this relationship. Opportunities in emerging areas like AI, semiconductors, green shipping, and green hydrogen can be actively pursued. We are glad to see that Malaysia and Thailand have liberalized visas for Indians, while other ASEAN members have also expanded air connectivity. Education and skills can be domains for future cooperation as well. The real game changer, however, and I'm very glad that our colleague from FICCI recognized that, the real game changer will be the completion of the India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway, IMTT. Progress is currently challenged by the internal strife in Myanmar, but we cannot allow this to block something so momentous. Practical solutions will have to be found to ensure the advancement of this initiative. The bottom line is that a Southeast Asia that has a population, I think, of almost 700 million, half of India, and a GDP of about 4.25 trillion, which is a little larger than our own, is a partner of enormous consequence. We can be mutually supportive in our journey towards prosperity and progress. It is natural that any talk of acting east should focus on the Bay of Bengal. There has been heightened attention given to the BIMSTEC grouping in this context. In a way, BIMSTEC is where Act East meets Neighborhood First. We finalized its charter in 2022 and are currently preparing for the next summit very soon. Our plan is to expand its activities, create more centers of excellence, strengthen youth networking, address health challenges, and increase capacity building. I should also add that membership of the Mekong-Ganga Cooperation, MGC, and partnering with the Indonesia-Malaysia-Thailand Growth Triangle add additional texture to our engagement. The consolidation of India's ties with this region also encouraged us to be more ambitious in our ties with the Indo-Pacific. Both Japan and South Korea have emerged as significant economic players in a range of areas in India. Our objective is not only to deepen that, but to give the collaboration a more contemporary character. India's greater capabilities and talent also allow more mutually beneficial endeavors. Where Japan is concerned, I also specifically recognize the contribution to our Act East Forum, whereby development projects in the Northeast have been accorded priority by Japan. We are currently discussing significant enhancing of mobility and training in this relationship. I'm confident that Assam and other northeastern states will be beneficiaries. Friends, India's engagement eastwards today extends all the way to Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific. Australia merits particular mention because we are seeing benefits flow of the ECTA, the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, as also a sharp increase in our political and security comfort levels. Mobility has been a notable feature of this relationship. Like with Japan, its Quad membership has been a supporting factor in our ties. Tomorrow, we have an unprecedented visit to India of the European Union Commission. We are glad today that the EU ambassador and ambassadors from EU are here with us. We will be discussing the Indo-Pacific with the EU Commission when they come. Remember, the Indo-Pacific came about because it is India's Act East policy that connected the Indian Ocean region with the Pacific. So, how could the world look at Assam? And indeed, the Northeast as a region. It will certainly note the steady improvement in infrastructure, connectivity, and skills level, which Dr. Chaturvedi also spoke about over the last decade. This makes it easier to do business, more attractive as well, and definitely much more mutually advantageous. These characteristics are strengthened by location. Assam and the Northeast are like a hub, with the rest of India, Nepal and Bhutan on one side, and Bangladesh, ASEAN and beyond on the other. Every step forward here will further strengthen that case. So friends, I ask you all to reflect on this. When we celebrate 200 years of Assam tea, when we inscribe Charaidev Moidam on the UNESCO World Heritage List, when a path-breaking investment is made in the semiconductor sphere, when quality educational and health institutions are established in this state, when the region's national parks gain acclaim, and indeed when we all come together like we do today to invest in its future, brand Assam surely gets that much stronger. Friends, a globalizing India attaches great priority to closer linkages and with the societies and nations to its east. In many ways, this is also a return of history for us. Assam represents the forefront of these endeavors. It has already witnessed the advantages of a double-engine governance and growth model. Whether it is the center or the state today, there is by now a well-established reputation for acting fast and acting first. We can be confident that this energetic approach, imbued with a strategic purpose, will yield benefits to the people of Assam, to the Northeast, to India, and of course to our partners. A day will come when we will have land connectivity all the way to the Pacific, when green shipping corridors become a reality and our eastern seaboard is fully revived. And equally, much greater demands will be there, international demands will be there for our talents and services as AI, health, and other skill-centric domains take root. This is the vision that must drive our efforts. I am convinced that Advantage Assam 2.0 will motivate us all in that direction. Once again, I thank the Chief Minister and the organizers for the opportunity to share my thoughts. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind, Jai Assam.